49ers schedule is out, and you probably noticed this 5-game stretch in the middle of it. So we're going to get into it. Before we do, welcome to our channel. Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like.
That's Guy. I'm John. We also have a podcast below in the description. Subscribe to that as well.
And we're also going to do a review, instant reaction of the Niners' full schedule. So keep an eye for that. But, John, the NFL schedule came out. We dove right in. And as we were going through it game by game, this 5-game stretch for us jumped out like it probably did for anybody watching this thing.
Quick hot take. For all the logos, I get we had a lot of jersey changes over the last couple months, but the logos didn't change except for the Rams. Like even I look at the Chargers, they still got the bolt. The Rams logo, little throwing me off. I don't totally like, but I respect the football team and the head coach. And that anytime you play the Rams, I think they're going to come back to earth a little bit. I take them seriously on the schedule. In this game, Sunday Night Football, right? I mean, this is last year they played them on that Saturday night, remember? It turned into Saturday Night Football. This turns into Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
They have been big games. I don't know if it's quite Seattle Niners, but it's not that far away. I think when they're both good, they feel big, right?
They definitely feel big because they've played great games even when one of them wasn't good, right? When you look at the Shanahan, McVay.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
So maybe that's part of it.
Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer. So, I think that maybe that's part of it. And like you said,
geographically, I think just, San Francisco, L.A., Northern California, Southern California, it's a built-in rivalry.
And then they go to the Super Bowl, and then the Niners go to the Super Bowl, right? And there's this McVay.
McVay's a Shanahan guy.
Yeah, so there's this whole thing. So we went through, I think one thing we like to do is look at who a team is playing before they play you. So from the Niners' perspective, the Rams are coming off a game at Washington. The Patriots are coming off of a bye. That's the only team the Niners play off a bye all year. Seattle's coming off a road game at Arizona. Green Bay is coming off a home game against the Vikings. And New Orleans, this game's at New Orleans again. We knew that part. But they're coming off a Sunday night road game against Tampa Bay. But this is a big boy. Right now, do you think the 49ers are favored in 4 of these games or all 5 or 3 of them?
I would say the Rams game, yes. The Patriots game, more than likely. Seattle, probably not. Packers game, definitely. Saints game, that by that time, I think the records would factor in. It's hard to say. So I would say Rams, yes. Patriots, yes. At Seattle, no. Green Bay, for sure, yes. Again, assuming quarterbacks are healthy and stuff. The Saints a coin flip.
Did you do the same thing I did?
I would say the Saints, no, actually. The Saints probably are going to be favored no matter what. Even if the Niners are like 8-2 and they're 8-2, it'll probably still be 1 or 2 points.
As long as they're really good, they should be. Even if they have the same record, yeah, I'm with you. Did you do the same thing I did? John and I, we watched this. We didn't watch the schedule reveal. They all came out before the TV, and we just went through them together. But you do this thing I did at least, where you're like, oh, the Patriots game, and then you go, oh, they don't have Brady anymore, and then you go, it's still tough though, right? It's like this little roller coaster, and then you realize it's off a bye.
I don't know where you land on this guy. I don't know if I necessarily the Patriots as like a playoff lock, as they've basically been for feels like 2 decades, right? But definitely for the last decade, you could put in pen when this schedule came out and write worst case scenario 12,
right?
Best case scenario 15. Now it feels like, they're probably somewhere between 7 and 9, but I don't view them as like 4 or 5. And I know Belichick is going to have a stick up his ass ready to kick the shit out of everyone every time possible. This is coming off a bye. He's playing the quarterback that he gave to the Niners. Now, it's a long time ago, and if anything, he loves Jimmy, right? Remember, he used to text him after wins. But I don't view this as like some random AFC team now. I still view this as a very, very tough game. You could say the record Tom clearly factors in, but you want to dive into uncommon opponents at Foxborough? They ain't losing many games there the last couple decades, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Tom plays only one side of the football, right? It's still Belichick and his defense off of a bye against a quarterback he knows really well. So,
my comp would be for them, who I would imagine when it all plays out, what they'll kind of look like, give or take, will be the Steelers of last year when they went 8-8. Now, it might not look the same and ebb and flow the same, but just the season's going to end. You'll be like, That was an impressive coaching job by Belichick.
Well, it also feels like, not to make it this a Patriots discussion, but coaches who are looking for their quarterback, that's an uncomfortable place to be. It feels like this is going to be a year where Bill is out to try to show everybody what he's capable of.
Well, but I think it's still fair though. If Tom had stayed, this would be beside the Seattle games, the biggest game on the schedule, right?
Well, wouldn't this game be on Sunday night if Tom was still there?
Probably. But you know what I mean. Wherever the time of the game and wherever they put it, this would be the number one game besides Seattle. I think we talk about Tom Brady, New England Patriots, the Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints game, like last year, there might be playoff home field advantage implications, but in terms of just the discussion points, yes.
Well, that's where, because I do think those games are winnable, right? The 49ers beat the Rams twice. They're going to match up very well against them. They should just be better than the Patriots, though Belichick is elite. I think when you look at this next 3-game stretch, you go, listen, I get they won last year at Seattle, right, when Greenlaw had the tackle, but I would say on a given year they're going to split, right? Mm-hmm. A split feels right, whether it's a home and away, whether you win away. You know, I would probably say this is an L. If I just had to do what we're doing right now, you'd give the L at Seattle and you would take the L at Levi's, even though last year it was technically reversed. And it's hard for me to take Green Bay that seriously just because I don't think they match up, and we have just a long period of evidence. They don't match up very well against the Niners. You remember a couple years ago when Nick Mullins played Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football and they almost beat them? For whatever reason, the Niners can suck and they play them tight, and when they're good, they beat them. And I think the Saints is kind of the opposite. When they've been good with Harbaugh and they were good, they play in like – if Seattle's the Niners' rivals – I'd say the Saints are the team that Niner fans go like, "Fuck yeah, this is gonna be a badass
played
week."
Some great
right?
games with them, yeah.
It's weird. Like Niners fan, there's not much hate out here, but there is this like, I got that bad boy circled, and they've had just fantastic games over the last decade, guys.
I think the thing about this, and you're right. I mean, it's way more in terms of actual meatiness. It's been a meatier rivalry than like the Cowboys has been for a long time, right?
You're saying the Saints.
But I think part of this stretch, it's not just when you look at the logos, you go, damn. It's also that 3 of these games are on the road, right? The Patriots road game is coming off Sunday Night Football. You go from a road game against the Patriots to a road game against the Seahawks. Okay, you get a little more, then you get less time to play. In this group, you would say the team you feel best about with the Niners matchup is Green Bay, but you have the least amount of time to play them because that's Thursday night. And then you go back out with a little extra time. That's nice to go play New Orleans. I think that's what makes this stretch a double whammy. It's not just the opponents. It's the fact that the travel is what it is, and the Packers game is on a short week.
You're right. The Packers game is on a short week, even though it's
home.
And
it's just a physical, like the Packers coming off at New England, coming off just the emotional toll. You remember the way the Niners looked against the Falcons when they came back home after that Ravens-Saints trip last year.
Well, I think the Rams they've played in physical games the last couple of years. The Patriots, if they're going to be successful, are going to be a defensive-oriented team. I mean, last year they had one of the best defenses. The Seattle game is basically a heavyweight fight every year. I mean, just bodies go down. The Saints game, which me and you we rewatched the game and did a podcast like a month ago when quarantine was starting. While the final score was 48-46, we both coming out on the rewatch were like, how many bodies were getting thrown around in that game? That game was brutal. So this is an incredible stretch of football, guy. I mean, when you factor in playoff teams, if this year there's 7 teams, right, in each conference. So the Rams would have made the playoffs last year. So you have the Niners, you got Seattle, Green Bay, Saints. All 4 were playoff teams last year, and in the new setup, the Rams would have been last year. So that's really good teams. And then you got the Patriots. Just are the Patriots in the games in Foxborough? I think we might look at this stretch a little bit differently, right? If the Patriot game was at Levi's, it wouldn't be quite as daunting. But just the travel at Foxborough, I don't know. I know I get he's gone, but I view Foxborough as just like going into like LSU at night or something. You know, it's a place you don't want to play.
Yeah, I'm with you. So this is just our first glance at this. The schedule just came out, so this is our first look. I'm sure we'll talk about it more. Let us know what you think about this 5-game stretch. What could the Niners' record be at this point? And what's the tougher part, the games or the destinations?
What do you think would be a successful stretch?
3-2.
with 3-2, you'd be fine
Yeah.
with? Because
I think you'd have to take that, right? Now, it's easy to say that now. You go through, you go, okay, so did you lose the Rams game? Did you lose the divisional games?
yeah, to me, if you went 3-2, the games you'd pick to lose would be at Patriots and the Saints. You would want or the Packers. You would want to beat Seattle.
You
and
would
LA
just feel
for sure,
worse about
right?
losing to the Packers at home. But the Saints game, like it was last year, could turn out to be really valuable.
Yeah, but you could also just say Thursday night to be one of those. You get a weird game if you just beat Seattle. I think you take the Packer game to go on the road to beat at Saints. Just because I think it's sometimes you can chalk up games once you get past like maybe into October 1st. Any Thursday night game is kind of weird. I mean, the Niners almost lost last year to Arizona. Now the game was on the road, but still, it's when you say just the law of averages, the Packers are bound to beat the Niners.
Is
Just
that how it works?
eventually,
If you're
or
just much better. It's like they snuck by them
maybe
last year
not.
twice. Beat their ass. All right. Let us know what you think.